Today I'm going to be changing out the main bearings on my 4020. It's a pretty straightforward process. They're just two halves, two circular halves that slip into a groove. And to do that, I just have a punch press here, and then I'm just going to be tapping it with a little handheld sledgehammer. And it just slides right out. It's that easy. We're going to throw new ones in. The new ones that we have are oversized by 20 thousandths. So I'm going to do the cap side next, and we'll get back. We're back with a cap on a workbench. These caps are kind of labeled nicely, so they're, if you can see that, labeled with a 1, and that 1 points away from the side of the engine that has the injection pump on it. And then on the very front, the side that faces the front, there is a hash mark, and it'll go kind of in Roman numerals, except they don't use V. It'll just hash 1, 2 hashes for 2, 3 hashes for 3, etc., all the way to 7. And that's kind of the way that these caps are labeled. Same idea as before. There is a little bearing sleeve, half circle. If you just tap it out, it's kind of a little bit harder. Might be able to wiggle it out a little bit. It's coming. There it goes. There you go. These are actually labeled as well. Try and get some of the oil off. These are Clevite bearings. I think that this was all, actually I know that these were not original to the tractor. There's the part number there, and then the other side, it says Clevite on it. This is manufactured in, if you could see it, 8 of 89. Doesn't mean it was installed then, but this tractor definitely had an overhaul sometime in the 90s, I would say, and it's just time to be due again. So I have a new bearing here and an old bearing here. New bearing is just slightly thicker than the old one. You'll have to take my word on it. If you ever have any concerns or issues about which way the bearing goes in, this way or that way, it seems like there is a little bit of a mark from where the old oil hole would have been, and likewise the tangs line up, this tang here to this little piece here. So we'll throw this new one in here and tap it in place. All good to go. Back at the block, it's as simple as lining up the oil port here with the hole here, starting it on this side without the tang, and then just sliding the tang into place. Just tap it just so lightly. And that is one seated bearing. we have the new bearings installed across all the mains, and I went ahead and sat the crankshaft inside. One of the first things I'm doing now as I'm going along is using plastic gauge to figure out what the clearance is between the bearings and the actual crankshaft journals themselves. So I set some plastic gauge inside. The way you can use plastic gauge, there is a green and a red style plastic gauge. The green is a little bit tighter for a little bit tighter clearances. So it starts out at right about 0.03, which is what I line up that green line with there. That's 0.002, so 2 thousandths, and that's just slightly too big, so it's 3 thousandths with the green, and then I did the red just to see if I was in agreement. And sorry, and right about there, right there is the 0.003, and that's an agreement as well. So we're definitely at 0.003 there on the first one. I'm going to do that for all the rest. The specification states that you should be between 0.0012 and 0.004, so 40 thousandths for the max, or excuse me, 4 thousandths for the max. So we're right within that specification. Oil pressure should be fine. I'm going to do it to the rest and get back with you. One thing I forgot to mention is when you put the crankshaft in, be absolutely certain to line up the crankshaft with the timing marks on the camshaft, and that's found on the front here, these two cogs. And there are these two marks here. There'll be a V right into one another. You have to absolutely make sure that those are lined up, or else your engine will just destroy itself with the camshafts pushing the valves down when the pistons are in the up position. So be sure of that. I now have all the main caps on. I torqued each main cap after checking all the clearances to 150 foot-pounds. Prior to putting the caps on, I used Lucas assembly grease, and it looks really good. 2 thousandths, the back three had that clearance, and then 3 thousandths, the front four had that clearance. There's a total of 7 caps that go on. So next I'm going to do the sleeves and the rods, and I'll be back for that one. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the video.